Now, we're going to take this very critically. First point, most software is not as good as we'd like. Have you ever noticed this? It's not very good. How many of you agree with me? Is this just me? It's not very good, right? I realized the other day, this is a very scary thought, that people, my customers, spend more time with the Visual C++ editor than they do with their children. Now, there's a scary thought. That editor is so bad. It's getting better, but you wouldn't want to spend a lot of time with it, you know. Most software is atrocious. It just doesn't do what it's designed to do. I recently talked to this woman on a plane, and she was sitting next to me. You probably have all had experiences like this. And they go, where do you work? And I go, Microsoft. Well, now, when you tell someone you work at Microsoft, one of two things happens. They either start going, you know, like this, and throwing salt over their shoulder and stuff like that, or they go, do you know Bill Gates? And sometimes both. Do you know Bill Gates? So, anyway, she found out I worked at Microsoft, and she goes, well, I'm gonna go to community college, and I'm going to learn all about computers. I've set aside 2 years of my life to do this. And I'm going to buy a computer, and I'm going to buy software, and I'm going to buy RAM and everything, and a printer, and a modem, and I'm going to go to community college for 2 years. Like, well, what do you want to learn to do? Well, I want to be able to do the spreadsheet thing, and I also want to write a book. And I thought, boy, he's a pretty admirable person, you know? And then I thought about it some more, and I went, whoa, she really bought into this thing, didn't she? Whoa, hook, line, and sinker. There's nothing wrong with our software. It's her. She's too dumb. She has to go to school. This is a pretty good business, people. They think something's wrong with them. I love Microsoft. Give me some more money, you stupid person. Right? Kind of weird, huh? Customers crave understanding. They crave your understanding. She, you know, it would never have occurred to that woman to go, what is with you guys that I have to go to school because I want to use your tool? You know? And, you know, I'm not sure I would have had a good answer, except to say it's a very young industry. Which is true. We are not quite mature yet. Customers want you to meet some need. Now, these needs are hard to get at. They're very hard to get at. Let me tell you about the Visual C++ story. We had just made C7. How many of you were around in C7 days, C6 days? Pretty bad, eh? That defines most software sucks. And so we were determined that, well, it's going to be a long year, but when we ship Visual C++ 1.0, we want it to be great. And so we went out and talked to a lot of customers. Now, some of you will probably remember, in those days, Borland had managed to make it seem as if templates and exceptions were the important thing for a C++ compiler. Remember that? Yeah, maybe not. Anyway, some kind of Byzantine features to the compiler. And I kept going, templates and exceptions? Because we'd talk to the press, they'd say we needed that. We'd talk to customers, they'd say we needed that. Templates and exceptions. I'm going, what do they want more gobbledygook for when the stuff is so crappy to begin with? You know? And you guys, we just sat through a talk on usability. Right? This stuff was not usable. You couldn't write a C++ program to save your life. It was just not usable. Borland, Microsoft, any of us. So we took a poll, and we found out that 80% of the C programmers wanted to move to C++, but only 8% had. But that's kind of interesting. So C++ really isn't happening yet. And so even though you'd go, what do you think we ought to do? They go, well, we think you need templates and exceptions. Then I go, well, okay, I'll go to school. It's like a reverse thing. Yeah, something's matter with me. I'll go to school and figure out what you mean by that. Well, really, when we get a couple of people alone, a few customers alone, they tell us the truth. And I go, do you know how to do C++? Well, yeah, I read Garney Stroup's book, and I dabbled at it and stuff like that. Yeah, but have you ever done a C++ app, gained in? Not in so many words. Why not? Well, it's too hard. I don't have time to learn it. I'm not as young as I used to be, and our market is aging. I'm really afraid that I'm getting left behind. I can't write a Windows app to save my life either. And it's just too hard. And, look, I'm just an old COBOL guy. And I don't get it, but I want to. Oh, I see. I get it. What you want is to be the $85,000 a year C++ guy without having to learn anything. That's a good idea. Boy, what if we could hold out that promise? Right? So we created this thing that tapped into that fantasy called App Wizard. Now, App Wizard is low tech, and it's not a real wizard. It's just a piece of software, and all it does is generate a starter app. How many of you have used App Wizard? How many of you were pleased as punch the first time you did? And saw, like, print preview. Yeah, I can do print preview. Damn right I can. This Excel guy's got nothing on me. So it wasn't the end of the line. I mean, it didn't do everything for everyone, but it definitely got you started. It made you feel like there was hope. Gave you a little ray of sunshine in your day, right? Made you feel like, well, now I can just tinker with this, and maybe I can gradually learn things. And of course, we violated that promise too, but still, it was good. I want to tell you something. 35 points of market share. 35 points of market share with that stupid little thing. My boss ain't here. Because it played into what they wanted. You got to find out what they want. You got to find out what they're fantasizing about. They're humans. They're not drones. They're people. Find out what they want. They want to be relevant. They want to be powerful. They want to control their computers. They want to be cool and with it and have it. They want to be part of a company as neat as Microsoft. They want to be part of the 1990s, part of the 21st century. These are some of the things that people want. And it's hard for them to do that because we send them to school to learn to use Word. Find something in your software, one thing maybe, that addresses real human needs. And don't worry, they'll reward you. Borland's out of business in the C++ game, right? Basically out of business. From an 80% market leader, but down in the teens. Whatcom is beating Borland. And this is not because we're so great. It's simply because customers want a little help. And we beat them to it.